Well, hi, friends. Doc South here, and I don't know. I have another tale of uh, the town I lived in when the majority of my youth, uh, from about I think I was 9 or 10 years old when I moved to my family moved to Chester, New Jersey, and one way or another I've lived there or been near it or returned to it ever since. And now I'm older than dirt. And so, yeah, I got to say, it was a nice town to grow up in back in the day. It's kind of ritzy now. A lot of folks with, some serious money, I guess, have moved in. But back when I was a kid, yeah, you could buy a house in Chester, I guess anywhere from about 10,000 to maybe, I know my parents' house, I think was 18 grand. When we moved in, and heck, that had a warehouse, a couple of acres, huge house that was such fun to live in, though haunted, I think. Um, Still, that made it interesting. And but I know most of the time we could have lived in a tent because as soon as the sun came up, my friends and I'd be out exploring. Yeah, there was no. We either had a Monopoly game going down in the basement, uh, not for real money. Uh, when you're a kid, even losing your play money was more than you could bear. But we'd um, we'd hop on our bikes and we'd ride around town, marauding. A biker gang couldn't be any more marauding than we were. Though I don't think we ever caused any real trouble. No, I don't think so. At least I'm not talking. But we, about anything we may have done. But I know there was, sometimes you just kind of spin in a circle and stop spinning. You'd spin with your eyes closed. You'd look and say, okay, I'm going whatever way you stop spinning, you open your eyes and you'd go that way, the way you were looking, and just see what you could find. And I mean, it was like that. There was always something to go check out. Well, we had heard there was an area where there was a very, very deep hole. Yes. See, Chester was a mining town at one time. Yeah, I think they mined iron ore. Pretty sure it was iron ore. And it was evidently plenty of it. In fact, you could find products from that mine, the slag and stuff, around town. It wasn't that hard to find. And we often heard, and I don't know if it's a true rumor or not, but the kids in town, when my first wife and I, Molly and I, had an antique shop, the kids would find cannonballs in the woods that were supposedly made in Chester. Now, they may not have been cannonballs. They were about this big, made of iron. They're about the size of a softball. And they were in the woods. Yeah, kids would find them and bring them to our store. We'd pay Molly and I at that point were grown-ups, and we'd buy the cannonballs off the kids like $2 a pop and sell them for 6. They may have also been. Sorry, there's a bug flying around. I'm not. It's how it is this time of year. But those cannonballs may not have been. They may have been some kind of bearings, for heaven knows what, or they may have been grinding stones for iron ore. We're not sure. Or they may have been cannonballs. They weighed about 2 or 3 pounds, about the size of a little bigger than a hardball baseball and a softball, kind of in between that size. But I don't know. A lot of people thought. I think I had an expert. Molly and I had an expert come through one day, and I think the guy said, "Yeah, these are cannonballs. Where'd you find them? In the woods around here?" Oh, he said, "Well, yeah." He says, "Yeah, Chester used to have was pretty big in the iron ore trade back in those days," and indeed it was. And I guess as kids, we learned about this. We heard rumors that there were mine shafts around. So naturally, one day we decided we'd go see what we could find. And I remember there there was this mining area where I think they dug right into the hillside, and so there were these cliffs. But we also heard rumors that around those cliffs were shafts, and the shafts went pretty far in, and they would open up into rather large cavernous rooms. Yes, underground, with walls of solid rock and a rock ceiling. And of course, I guess the miners would work in there, knocking out iron ore and pulling it out of the mine. And I think there was a railroad of some sort that would come collect it and then probably take it to wherever it was going to be smelted. Whether that happened in Chester or not, I don't know. But we decided we'd go check this scene out. And of course, well, we're responsible kids. Nothing wrong with kids 10, 11, 12 years old go exploring old 200-year-old mine shafts. What could happen? Oh God, I hate. We're lucky we're alive. That's all I can say. Oh, what? But in any case, we were adventurous, and many kids were back then. So anyway, we knew that there was a lake nearby that I think was put in. It was it was an area where the Black River was dammed up a bit, and I think the water was used either to make ice in the winter, or it may have also been used for mining purposes. Because I guess if you had some serious pumps and a good source of water, you could probably spray the sides of a cavern and knock some rock loose, and it'd be easier than climbing up there and trying to knock it loose with a pick, So I guess it would help you get your iron ore quicker. I guess. I don't know if that was practice back in those days, a normal practice. But we heard tell that there were rooms inside these mines where kids could actually play baseball. Our 8th grade teacher told of how he used to do that. And so he let it slip where those mines were, and we were, one merry day on our way. Well, we walked around, and indeed this area, you walked, you got yourself across the river that fed the lake, and it was just maybe 10, 12 feet across. So you found areas where you could ford across, or there were some spots where logs fell across the river, or there may have even been an old bridge. You were probably safer on the log than the bridge, as old as it was. But we got across. That was the first obstacle. Then you had to get through all the poison ivy patches. And then eventually you came to an area where there were all these cliffs. And we'd be looking at those cliffs, and you'd see way up high along the cliff there'd be a hole. Not a real big one, but one where a guy could, with a pick in hand, could climb through, I suppose. But we're thinking, God, how do we get up there? And we were probably looking at an air shaft. Yeah. Heaven knows. But, and there was water. You could see where the cliffs obviously went down pretty far, and there was a lot of this had flooded. This area had flooded. So probably the guys worked down where there was water, and they had pumps to keep that water out, or they somehow dammed it away, shunted it off elsewhere. And but we'd be walking around these cliffs, and of course you'd be watching out. You didn't knock a boulder over. You might cause a landslide, and all that kind of thing. And we'd be looking for the shaft. Where in heaven's name did they get? I think we did actually find one. It was kind of a tunnel, but we weren't quite brave enough to go in there. Didn't seem like a good idea. It was water and looked snaky. We're thinking, So we decided to, I don't know, we found an area where if you went along the side of the mountain, that, again, I'd say mountain, maybe 100, 150, maybe 100 feet high, if that. 75, 100 feet. But to us, well, when you're a kid, that's a mountain. And with a big cliff on it and all that. We found a way where we could go around and come up on regular ground. And if you walked blindfold, towards the cliff, you'd eventually go over it. But it seemed like level ground to where we were walking. We were walking along and saying, God, the shaft's got to be here somewhere, fellas. And we're just having the wildest time trying to find it. And all of a sudden, we come to an area where it's cliff again. Only now we're on the top, and it's down pretty far to the bottom. And we're beginning to, I don't know, we just couldn't quite figure out what the heck is. And one kid said, look, there's there's a spot where the ground has shifted, and you got rock here, ledge here, little bit of a ledge here, and then a drop. And then on the other side, from where we're standing, there's more dirt. And maybe there's something on the other side. And we kept thinking, well, gosh, how are we going to get over there? Well, what we had to do was and I'll tell you, I don't know how we were so brave or dumb, or both. What we had to do was walk across this ledge. It was a pathway that somehow the rocks separated. Maybe ice did it over the years. There may have been just a simple crack, a fissure, but water would get in it. In the winter, it would, water swells when it freezes. Yeah, it does. And so it may have over time, many, many winters, eventually this separated. It looked pretty sturdy. We hit it we kind of tried to hit it with a stick. Nothing seemed to move. So we decided we had to walk across the ledge. We're walking across this doggone ledge, and we get out there and realize it's all sandy on top, so it's slippery. Oh my God, we're having the worst time. And once you're out there, what are you going to do? So we should. Yeah, I know we should have backed up, but we didn't. And we eventually get off to where there's again finally we're more solid ground. We're on somewhat solid ground at this point. And we realized that we could have gone around another way and would have been perfectly safe. Didn't have to go across the ledge, the stupid ledge. And it was quite a drop. It wasn't no 5-foot drop. It was a doozy. Oh man, you would have really ripped your jeans falling off of that ledge. Or that I don't know, that pathway to death. But we're sitting around saying, man, there's got to be some place where the cave is, where the miners all worked. And I don't know, one kid's looking at a hole in the ground. He says, look at that, there's a hole. And we look and go walking over to it, and you can feel cold air coming out of the hole. By the way, the hole was I doubt I could have put my head into the hole. Okay, so it's only about like that big. But it was emitting all this cold air. Yeah, and if you sniffed near it, it smelled cold. It smelled dusky. And some kid, one of our friends got a rock, and he took a rock and he says, everyone shut up. And, well, of course we did. He drops the rock, and we're all listening, got our ears around the hole, and we don't hear anything, nothing. And then all of a sudden, about 4 or 5 seconds later, we hear, poosh! The rock hit what obviously was a large amount of water. But it took a while to happen. One of us said, get another rock. Little kid cuts a rock, drop it, and stay away from that hole. You can fall down this thing. You're tiny as you are. I'm not little, but still, stay back. What'll I tell your mom? Yeah, okay. Yeah, you're right. Okay, and we drop another rock, and again, it took forever, and eventually it hit. We decided, there it is. There's the shaft. How do we get down there? Well, we could never quite think of a way or find a kid brave enough to do it. But we think we found the we think we found where the doggone pit was. And no, I'm not telling. It's probably still there and probably opened up a little more since, gosh, that was old as I am now. That's at least 60 years ago. So, yeah. But it's, I imagine that must have been the main room where they probably congregated, maybe did some digging, perhaps processed the ore, decided what was good, what wasn't, and sent it out on like a little rail car out to the outside world. But it was big. And we never thought to get a flashlight to take a look and see, but it obviously was a very cavernous hole, cave, and we were at the roof of it. What I'm thinking is that probably was a smoke vent so that the miners in the winter could stay warm. I would guess. That or it's how they got their air. I don't know, one or the other, or both. But we all, we never thought, hey, stupid. No one ever said, hey, we're being stupid. We're standing on the roof of an area. It would take us 5 or 6 seconds to hit the ground. What are we doing on the top of this thing? We never thought of that. Luckily, nothing happened. But doggone, yeah. And I would imagine that's there to this day. I would guess. It's a shame someone can't somehow renovate some of these old mines and show what it was like to work in them. I guess it wouldn't be safe, but it would be interesting. It would be interesting. And no, best of my knowledge, no one ever, we didn't go to fifth grade class and look over and see, 2 or 3 of our friends were missing, and the principal was going to come talk to us about this awful thing that happened to the kids in town. 2 or 3 of our friends who made the foolish attempt to explore the mine shafts. No, nothing ever. I don't know. First, I guess maybe kids were lighter then. I don't know. But we no. Every now and then we'd walk across the ledge, just to show how stupid we were, or was it brave, or both. But other than that, no. You'd go back every now and then. Yeah, but no, it never changed. I don't know if the area would still be there. I would think possibly. Now I know a lot of it's fenced off. You can't get in there, which is probably good. Anyway, I'll see you later, friends. No, my lips are sealed. I ain't talking as to where it is. I don't want someone falling down into that shaft. And you'd find, and there was neat machinery all over the place. Yeah, that I guess broke and they just pulled it out of the shaft and left it one place or another. Yeah, hoisting stuff and wheels and stuff. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Anyway, I'll see you later, friends. Thank you. And I know this one's awfully long, but I thought you'd get a charge out of it. I'll see you later. Bye now.